going on here, Muse? Did you catch me in flagrant delicti? Or whatever that saying is. No. The truth of the matter is, I am here to prove a point. Or to make a point, actually. Look, I don't want this to come off the wrong way. But the one thing that I want people to know, in the best way that I can convey it, as I'm standing here in front of this camera, completely naked. Of course, you can't see me from about here down, which is a good thing because you don't want to see that. I am not. Anyway. Artists. When we create our work, be it a book, a film, a piece of theatrical entertainment, a piece of music, a dance, painting, a sculpture, whatever. When we create it, we fill it with our hearts and our souls and our life. Our very essence goes into our creative work. And trust me, I have created from different medias, primarily on the stage and the written page. And when I create, I am in that work. I bleed from the heart and the soul onto the page or onto the stage for those to consume. And the thing is, when those pieces of work leave our hands and they find their way to you, the reader, the viewer, the listener, whatever, that is us artists, exposing ourselves to you. We stand before you, either literally or metaphorically, naked. And we do so willingly. And I know you might not think that, at least when we're talking about books, because books are somewhat separated from us, sort of. Because once I create it and it's edited and it's proofread and it's ready to consume, the book leaves me. And you don't actually have me in your bedroom or your living room reading to you, though I have people requested that I do. Crazy as it sounds. There is a separation between us. However, here's the thing. If you take one of my books, you read one of my books, and you read not just the printed word, but you read between the lines. You devour the subtext of the written word. And you read enough of what I have read, and all of a sudden you can paint a fairly clear picture of who I am. Because that's what I do. I put myself in my work. So even with an artistic medium that is somewhat separated from the artist, we are still exposing ourselves to you. And now, on the stage, it is quite literal. We spend weeks, sometimes months, rehearsing, and I can contest to this on hundreds and hundreds of occasions where we put everything we have and are into a role. And then the curtain goes up, sometimes literally, sometimes metaphorically, and there we are, right in front of you, sometimes just feet or inches from you. We are naked before you as artists. And I have even As crazy as this sounds, I have actually performed on stage literally naked. I did a production of Love, Valor, Compassion many years ago. And I stood on stage for about 30 to 45 minutes, sans clothing, for everybody to see it all. And never in my life have I felt so vulnerable. And you might think that standing on stage completely clothed from head to toe removes that vulnerability, but it doesn't. Because we stand before you, and we see you, we hear you. We know whether or not you're laughing when we think you're going to laugh, or you're crying when we're crying. We get that immediate reaction from you. We are vulnerable physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Our hearts, our souls are there, right there for you to touch. And the same thing holds true with our books and our music and our paintings. Everything we do, it is there, and we are vulnerable. And we expose ourselves completely naked, artistically speaking, to you. Now, why am I saying this? Why am I bothering to stand in front of this camera sans clothing to make a point? And this is where that idea of me not wanting this to come off the wrong way sounds. And I will preface what I'm about to say by saying that nothing has happened to me personally. This is not coming from a place of experience, at least recent experience, although I have experienced things like this. But I know a lot of artists that have, recently and not so recently. But the thing is, because we expose ourselves to you as artists, we're vulnerable. And when you consume our work and you decide to review our work, or, hold on, I'll get to the next or in a second. You decide to review our work and you, let's say, for example, you didn't like what you read. And you make it very clear what you didn't like about what you read. That's fine. Everybody has an opinion. That's great. But you cross the line when you attack the artist. Now, we've all heard the saying, separate the art from the artist. And sometimes that's possible, and sometimes it's not. Like I said, when you read enough of what I write, it's hard to separate me from the art because I put so much of myself in there. But when you don't separate the art from the artist when you're doing a review, all of a sudden your review can become an attack. Not on the book, but on the artist. And when you review a book and you say something negative about the book, that's opinion. That's fine. But when you all of a sudden start attacking the artist, that is malicious. And because we stand before you so vulnerable and naked, metaphorically speaking, that attack really cuts deep. Because we don't have our armor on to protect us from it. Now, there's another thing that some people don't always think about. When you read a book, or when you watch a movie, or you see a play, anything, listen to a piece of music that you've purchased, anything that you have the possibility of reviewing and you don't review, whether you like it or not, when you don't review, that can be seen by some artists as an attack. We depend upon reviews. Reviews are those things that help other consumers decide whether or not they want to consume that piece of work. And you can traverse the landscape of social media and you can find cries from artists practically begging consumers to review their work. You can go on Amazon and just scroll through and see book after book after book with 1, 2, 3 reviews. And those books have been on that site for years. And you know people have read it. I have books that many people have read and very few have reviewed. Even though I know those many people liked the book. And I get it. We're all so busy. And real readers read a lot. And if they reviewed everything they read, they would feel at the end that they have actually written a book themselves. But those reviews don't have to be very long. I like this book. This book made me feel good. 4 stars. Whatever. But when you don't review them, there we are. Naked. Exposed. Vulnerable. And of course, this is not a plea. I'm not one to beg. But I cannot tell you how many writers come to me to say, why aren't people reviewing my books? What do I need to do to get them to review my books? Same thing with plays. Why aren't people saying it, talking about this play? Artists, let's just get this out of the way because everybody knows it, everybody assumes it, but artists are incredibly sensitive people. That sensitivity is part of the reason we were drawn to the arts in the first place. By our very nature, to our core, we are sensitive people. We are connected to our emotions. We have to be. If we are completely disconnected from our emotions, how do we act on stage? How do we write believable stories? How do we write characters that you can relate to? We have to be sensitive in order to accomplish those things. And because we are all so very sensitive, which is something that everybody makes fun of, but they don't ever stop to put themselves in the shoes of the actors or the artists, whatever artist they are, to go, what am I doing to these people by making fun of this sensitivity? Well, it hurts. I've had people that actually really, truly, profoundly care for me make fun of my sensitivity without bothering to stop and think, what is that doing to him? Why is he shutting off? 5 minutes ago, he was all wee, jovial and fun, and now he's kind of cut off. Why? Because I stand before thee metaphorically naked. That sensitivity, wearing my heart on all my sleeves and on my back and on my front and on my top, it has an effect. Now, after a while, I've been an artist for a very long time. I've been an artist since the mid-'80s. After a while, you develop the ability to allow that mockery, to allow those attacks to roll off your skin. But I know a lot of artists out there who are new, who haven't developed that ability to let it roll off the back, and I see them hurt, and I see them want to get through the pain and wonder why. Why is this happening? And to you, artists, who are also sitting, standing, whatever, metaphorically naked, looking at someone who is actually literally naked, I would say this to you. It gets better. Eventually you'll get exposed to enough of it, and it'll stop hurting. You'll stop wondering why no one's reviewing your book. You'll stop wondering why aren't they or not wondering why they're not laughing when they should be laughing. It'll stop hitting you in such a way that it makes you question your choices as an artist, as an actor, as whatever. Because at some point, some people are going to get the joke, some people aren't going to get the joke. That's just the way it is. One of the greatest comedians to have ever lived, Robin Williams, once said, and pardon my French, he said, joke 'em if they can't take a fuck. And that's kind of where I am at this point in my life, because I've been an artist for so many years. And I have been attacked, I have been criticized, I have been mocked, but at the same time I've also been loved. I have been praised, I have been celebrated. So, yeah. So artists, persevere. Don't let it get you down. Do not let it stop you from doing what you love to do. Trust me on this, because if you let that stop you, eventually you're going to hurt more. Because after a while of not doing your art, you're going to feel empty. And sometimes it's better to feel filled up from the soul outward than to suffer the slings and arrows of people. So, Muse, I'm sorry that you had to sit here and watch me go on and on. All natural. And those of you watching, I'm glad that you could only see me from here up. Because nobody wants to see that. I'm just a short, goofy-looking guy. You don't want to see that. Anyway, I hope that you took this in the way I meant it. And I hope every artist out there gets it, because I know you do, because I know you have felt this way. I know you have felt completely, utterly, and profoundly naked in front of everyone. And I hope that you understand that it gets better, and that eventually it won't hurt. Eventually that skin will get so thick that you will be able to survive the attacks. Just don't let it get too thick that all that wonderful, beautiful emotion can't come out. Anyway, thank you for listening to me muse, and thank you, artists and consumers of art. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for tolerating me and my words, and maybe hanging on to them in hopes that you might learn something. Anyway, you're all, each and every one of you, you're all freaking awesome.